Hey, well, there ain't a whole lot going on in the world right now, y'all. I mean, I've been looking around stuff, and ain't a whole lot. They still got that big bullcrap bill there in the Senate that they're trying to pass. Apparently, that thing ain't even popular with Republicans, but they got to pass it anyway, because well, it's got those tax cuts in it, and they gotta raise the debt ceiling, because they got a big old problem on their hands, and that is if they don't pass this in time, Trump's previous tax cuts when he was pretending he was president before, they expire. And that's horrible for people. Rich people. That's horrible for rich people. My apologies. Their taxes will go up like $4 trillion combined, and they can't do that because then they won't be as rich, So it's imperative. Imperative. It means it's important. It's very, very important that they get this passed for the rich folks, y'all, because God forbid that they have to pay more taxes and all, and so they have to raise the debt ceiling by $5 trillion there. So when it's all said and done, his two combined presidencies, while he's up there pretending and squatting up in the White House, turning into a trap house and a pill mill and all that, it'll be a combined $13 trillion that he's raised the national debt whenever they pass this thing. So anyway, I know it's real important that this thing get passed. They got to cut all the Medicaids and stuff like that to be able to pay for it, and that's real important too, making people die, lose their health care and stuff like that, starve people out without the food stamps and stuff. At least the rich will maintain their wealth, all of it. There was a time back in the 1950s whenever rich people had a 90% tax bracket. Yeah, if you made more than $5 million a year, you paid 90% on that. Now, you still got to keep your $5 million, but every dollar after that, you paid 90 cents on the dollar on that, And I'm like, well, that right there is a good thing, Hey, whenever you fake ass patriots, Team Taco, whenever you just hearkening back to the good old days, that's what you're thinking about then. When people could afford things, whenever there was a good, solid middle class in this country, that's what you're thinking about there. You know why? Because the rich was being forced to pay their fair share. That's why. That's the piece of the puzzle that you're missing on right there. Now, if it was me and I was president up in here, I would do the same thing, 90%, I might even go to even right now, $12 million a year. Shoot, I mean, if you can't live on $1 million a month, I mean, what the hell's wrong with you, $1 million, $250,000 a week? If you can't make it on $250,000 a week, you need to be taken behind the woodshed and then buried in the pasture. That's a good solution there for you. So anyway, that's what I'd do, but not these Republicans, y'all. But anyway, so let's get back to this study they had here that I was reading about. The thing is there's a worldwide study, and I know that we said that America is the greatest country in the world, and it is at some things. We're number 5 in this study in ignorance. The America's number 5 in the world in ignorance. And I was like, how could that be? I mean, that's a whole lot of ignorance right there. I mean, talking about the whole world. So I started mathing on it, and I got up there and started Googling and stuff. I did use the Google. I mean, I didn't duck go at this time. I got up on the Google. I needed answers, is what I'm telling you. And I got answers, and I was like, well, if all this math is going to math up for me right here, that would mean that like 77 million people in this country would have to be absolutely batshit crazy, And I'm like, is that true? And then I started counting red hats, and I'm like, that it lines up perfectly. 77 million dumbasses right there is dragging us all down, making us look like idiots on the world stage. Number 5 in stupidity, ignorance. But anyway, so in that same study, number 1 in the world, America is, in believing in conspiracy theories. And I was like, it's them again. It's them. It's the 77 million, Jewish space lasers, JFK Jr. still alive, Pizzagates, all the stuff. I'm like, that right there is leading us to making us number 5 in ignorance, is believing in all the conspiracy theories. So listen, hey, Team Taco, all right, you fake-ass patriots. Now, I explained to you yesterday why I call you that. Because you're fake-ass patriots. Because you literally hate everything about this country and the people that live in it other than the white ones. That's why I call you that. Anyway, look, stop believing in all the conspiracy theories and stuff. All right, aren't you bored by it now? I got bored with it shortly after the interwebs came out. I mean, I dove down all the rabbit holes and stuff back in like 2008, whenever the YouTubes was new. I dove in there and all. It was fun to waller in it for a little bit, but sometimes you got to get out and wipe all the doo-doo off of you, And I did. You need to do the same thing, all right? Those conspiracy theories out there, like 90% of them ain't real. There ain't nothing, no truth to them, But I know it makes you tingle all over your bodies and stuff whenever you think that we're going to be living in some sort of dystopian future and all. We hope we're not. Y'all are trying to drive us that way as hard as you can. All right? So, anyway, the reason why that we have a bunch of Republicans up there in the Senate right now trying to cut everybody's Medicaid and Medicare and food stamps while they hand the rich $4 trillion gets back to that study. Ignorance. Straight up ignorance. I'm sorry, and racism. I almost left that out. But anyway, it just puts a fine exclamation point there on the fact that America is dumb. And the fact that this bill's sitting in that Senate right there, right now, while 99% of this country, 97%, are working people, and we're sitting in there right now trying to pass a bill to extend $4 trillion in tax cuts to the top 1%. That's how ignorant this country is. Inmate Trump.